when you avoid shadow work, the deep uncomfortable process of facing your own fears, facing your patterns, and even unresolved wounds, you now unconsciously stay in survival. You start operating from fear, not clarity. You start reacting from pain, not the truth. And even the relationships that you're building them based on protection, not connection. And that results in you not dealing with what hurt you. You just build a personality around it. A personality that becomes defensive, it becomes mistrustful, it becomes cold, and even sometimes even overgiving. A lot of the chaos we see in male-female dynamics isn't even about gender differences. It's about unhealed trauma and emotional immaturity. That is what is being projected onto the now entire groups. A man gets hurt by a manipulative woman, or women are evil. A woman gets abandoned by an emotionally unavailable man. Men are trash. This thinking doesn't come from wisdom. It comes from pain. Pain that hasn't been processed. Unajua, pain that now seeks a villain. Because it seeks something to blame outside there. It's easier to blame a gender, than ask yourself, why did I ignore the red flags? It's easier to blame than ask yourself, why did I stay in a place I wasn't respected? What did I believe about love that made me accept that behavior? That's shadow work. And most people skip it. They now turn to generalization, which is now a coping mechanism. It's not the truth. Generalizing all men are this, all women are this, it gives people a false sense of control. If you can convince yourself that everyone in a certain category is dangerous or even unworthy, then you don't have to take the risk of trusting, opening up, or even healing. It now becomes emotional self-protection. You disguise it as insight. But it keeps people stuck. It keeps people bitter, afraid, and even repeating toxic dynamics while pretending they are aware. But the truth is, not all men are emotionally unavailable. Not all women are manipulative. But unhealed people of any gender will always behave from pain. And then they'll blame others when it backfires. So the war between genders will drastically reduce if we reflected instead of reacting. If we healed instead of generalizing. If we took accountability instead of playing victim. Shadow work, of course, shadow work is uncomfortable. Because it forces you to take accountability. It forces you to ask yourself, what am I attracting? What patterns am I repeating? What do I believe about myself that allows this behavior? What am I avoiding by staying angry? It's easier to point the finger than to turn it inward. And nothing will ever change. Nothing will ever change till now you start dealing with things from inward. A gender war is just a war of unhealed people. It has nothing to do with the gender. It's just unhealed people. And the more we stay in trauma-driven identity roles, like all men are this or all women are that, the more we destroy the possibility of real connection, like real understanding and even growth. Healing doesn't come from blaming a gender. It comes from being brave enough to face the parts of ourselves we've been running from. It's not about men versus women. It's now even it has always been the healed versus unhealed. And the loudest voices in the gender war are usually the ones least willing to do the inner work. Peace between gender won't come from debating options, debating opinions. It will come from individuals doing their shadow work, breaking patterns and even showing up healed. My people, heal.